Hey, I'm just making an update video. My heat exchangers, it's just probably just likely, you know, Dallas. Dallas is brutal. I've had other turbo cars and I monitored those through the Cobb access port. And man, they just ran ridiculously high, you know, way higher than this is running. And, you know, 130, 140, I think people freak out about this stuff, but in the summertime, this is business as usual. You know, nothing to be, you know, alarmed about. You know, just most of the people and most of y'all maybe watching are just up north, northwest, or northeast. I just know a lot of people on YouTube with cars are in the northern parts of the United States. I mean, there's some in Florida and some, you know, down in the lower hotter areas, don't get me wrong, but you know, a large majority of people in the heat in Arkansas and Mississippi and Texas and Florida, you know, they have the breeze from the ocean and stuff, but I know it's hot there because I've taken trips there, business trips and things. So I'm just gonna you know, make sure I don't have any constrictions in my system, and I just wanted to make a video since I'm doing it. And here's something that I learned that I pointed out before, is you need a little rubber plug. Let me see if I, and it's 115 degrees in my garage. I have a big fan, but I have to have it off while I'm making this video or it'll be a crazy hum. It's just a little vinyl rubber cap, and you gotta place it right here. When you put the cap in, the cap goes right there. There's a little breather right there. So if you don't do that, you can't pull the vacuum, the correct vacuum. So I learned that a while ago. Maybe I'll make sure I don't drop this down in the engine bay. As you can see, my hands are already getting glossy. I mean, it is hot. It's 110, 115 degrees in here. See my sweat dripping off my face already, just in 5 minutes. Okay. So I've got that sealed off. I've got my compressor aired up. My tank is full. Oh yeah, and another thing, I just want to point out to people real quick. My tuner told me just a little trick, not a trick, but just a little tip, you know, and because this blue coolant in the Nissan and other pre-made coolants is a 50-50 solution. You know, in the summertime, I don't want to run just straight water because I'm not going to drain this when it becomes winter time. So you need some protection in your radiator and your heat exchanger so it doesn't freeze on you. Also, too, if you get a let me see, let me get my terminology right. The killer chiller. You got to have coolant in your antifreeze or coolant in your system because it gets down into the 30s and the 40s with the air conditioner charge. So you don't want to freeze up your system. So, but instead of 50-50, you can lower that down to like 25%. So 25 coolant, protected coolant, antifreeze, and 75% water. So I'm not going to drain my intercooler out of the car and mess with that. I just sucked all my coolant out of the overflow, and you know, over time, the next couple of months driving around, that'll get circulated and get water and get coolant, blue coolant back into that water so it's not just straight water. And so here we go. Just a tip. Woo, it's hot. Okay, so I'm going to hook up my compressor. I'm going to turn my fan on because it is so hot. Well, no, I can't do that. Or my fan. Hang on. Just going to have to tough it out. Let me see. So open, they're closed when it's sideways. So when you open them, they go facing the valve. So we're gonna just leave that one open. Okay, so when I press down on this, you can't see my gauge right here, but it jumped up to 25. It's just, you got to press down on this and hold. So it's about 23 and a half. I let a little bit of air leak out. So I mean, it's pulled all the air out of the system. And so when I open this valve back up, let me see here. I mean, it should expel the air if there's any trapped in there. So, okay, I'm going to just do this again. So, I mean, I suck the air out. I'm not putting in any fluid. I'm not putting in any fluid through the drain, I mean, through the suction here, because it doesn't need any fluid. I mean, it's pretty much full, but so I was just going to suck any obstruction out that was in there, air bubbles. And again, you can see just how hot it is. Oh my gosh, let me see my hand. Hands dry. Woo, hot. Texas is brutal. Okay, as you can see on my temps, you know, on my temps that I post, man, my temps on this car are high, 130, 140. But I mean, this looks like it. So just letting everyone kind of see this air lift tool, air-vac, whatever you want to call it, and how that works. And then when you fill this up with any kind of water, straight water, so you can dilute it down to get it to 75, 25 coolant antifreeze in there. You want to make sure you use distilled water and fill that in so it doesn't have the chemicals and the pollutants in the water, because it might, you know, lead to damage or contamination of the intercooler or your radiator. So there you go. I just thought that might be helpful. I mean, it looks like it's fine. If it had any kind of air bubbles in there right now, I sucked them out. I mean, and I'll even do it one more time just to be sure. It sits at 24 and it holds, so no leaks in the system. I knew there weren't any leaks, but and then when I open this valve up, it'll drop the pressure. So I mean, it sucked out all it could. The whole system is under 24 pounds of pressure of suction right now. It's all suctioned, and you know. So when I open this up, I mean, it relieves. Lets air go back in there where it's not under pressure. So simple enough. So yeah, it looks like it should be good. So just double checking. Videos help people to understand things. So have a good night. Like and subscribe, share, check back for more videos.